Well, ladies, it's that time of year, not just fall, but it's the spending time. And we're going to start opening our wallets even more and more and more. And I just want to know what you guys have. What's your relationship with money? How do you feel about the money you have coming in and coming out? Are you good with your money? Or do you not even want to talk about money? Where are you guys at in the whole money relationship?
Is it okay if I skip this episode?
Yeah, we can just not do this one, okay?
I know.
I'm not
I
talking
think
about financial experts. I'm talking about
no.
what?
I think I think this is good something to talk about
Yeah,
because I don't
it
think
is.
people
Are you
talk
in
about
love with your relationship? Like you have a loving relationship?
no
Or is it kind of toxic?
toxic.
And that, you know what? That's so interesting because we probably don't look at money as having a relationship with it. We know we want it. We know we would like more of it. We tell ourselves that we might not love it because you have limiting beliefs about it. But really, it's like you do have a relationship. We have a relationship with absolutely everything. And it's like if money was your date, if it was dating you, what would it say about you when you're not around? And that really also is really important to understand because it is the ability to receive that money, which is what we want, but we have to have a good relationship with it in order to be able to receive it, especially as entrepreneurs, as the three of us are, right? We have to literally nurture it, be willing to look at it, be willing to take care of it. And I know I have terrible habits with money. Money would probably come over and say, hey, quit neglecting me. What's happening over here?
Well, I really want my daughters, I really like, if you can figure this out young, then because you're going to have, this is your lifetime, you're married to your money. It's lifetime relationship. So figure it out at the beginning.
And I think it's really important to ask yourself those kinds of questions, like, what do I think about money? Like, what do I actually think about it? Not like, oh yeah, give it to me. I want tons and tons and tons. It's like, no. What do you actually think about money? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? What do your parents think about money? What did they think it took to earn money? Right? Like we have created all of our beliefs about money based on what we have seen and grown up with. And unless we are taught that those are simply just somebody else's beliefs, we can choose our own. We often don't realize that we have that kind of power, that we can look at what those limiting beliefs are. I mean, my dad was like, you have to work hard for your money. And if you could have a belief that if you're really rich, it means you're greedy and bad, right? If you got a lot of money, then you're selfish. And it's like, I don't want those characteristics, so I'm not going to like money, right? But
or even the deserving. Do you really deserve to have this much stuff, or like money wise, right?
Yes. And they're all beliefs that we can challenge within ourselves to say, is this something that I want to keep because I like it? It helps me, it serves me, whatever. Or do I want to go, you know what? I'm just going to put this one off to the side because I don't want to think that way. I want to believe that money's good because I'm good and I get to do with it whatever I want. If I want to give it away, I can give it away. If I want to help other people, I can help other people, right? I can create my own belief system about money and create the relationship that's going to allow me to receive and be open about money as opposed to being tight about money.
And I think you bring up some excellent points there. We're not even talking about how to make money. We're not talking about how much you need. We're no experts on that. So please, that's not what this episode is about in
Mhm.
any way, shape, or form. But you can, it's the relationship you're feeling about money. And, it is, I know as a child growing up how my parents talked about money. I know how people looked at money. I see it still within some of my interactions between siblings, conversations or comments that are made about people with money. And I think we, as anything else in our life, those comments become ingrained in our belief system. And if we don't know, our thoughts are holding us back. We don't know what we don't know, I guess
Mhm.
what it is. So I think it's important to think about, if you had, I think one of the things I think about is not if I had a certain amount of money, but if you just had money, no matter what, if it was $10 or 10 million, what would you do with that? And I try to think of it in three ways. Where can I give back? What can I invest or use? And what do I need for paying? Now, am I good with that process? Absolutely not. I have an awful relationship with money. I'm going to be honest with everyone. But when when I get very overwhelmed by money, I try to take a step back and make sure my energy for receiving money is higher than my energy of not receiving money.
I got it. Well, I listened to this podcast, and one of the guys was very poor when he was younger. He grew up poor, and he's very, very rich now. He's a total investment wizard. And he said, when I grew up poor, I had issues with money. And he goes, being rich, I have issues with money because my relationship with money, I haven't figured it out yet, because now I feel I don't deserve this. Where before, when I was poor, I felt I don't have money because I didn't deserve it. Then I get money and I don't deserve it. So it's weird, because we all have these different relationships with money. And even when they talk about people going in debt and all that, lots of times it's avoidance, right? You don't want to
Mhm.
deal with it. And
Mhm.
so you're avoiding your reality, and that's your relationship. I just find it fascinating, because
Mhm.
it's something that you have to live with your whole life. And most of us aren't really good
Mhm.
even
Yeah.
talking about it. We grew up where you didn't talk about money.
And
Yeah.
I can see the three of us are a little uncomfortable in this conversation right now. Like, people, viewers, you're seeing like three women a little uncomfortable on having a conversation on relationship with money. Like, it's a hard conversation to have.
We create stories about money. I think that's, if we could look at money as something that is completely neutral, it's just a piece of paper. Um, and yes, I mean, obviously we need it to survive and to thrive and all of those things. But we create an emotional story around money that, well, if I had this much money, I would be happy. And it's like, happiness has got nothing to do with your money. It's like, there is so many other stories that we create for ourselves based on either abundance or scarcity
Mhm.
with money. And if we can take a step back and go, that is just a story, that's just my thinking about this, it's not real. Because there's a lot of people out there who make a lot of money, who are completely happy with making the money, and they're doing everything they want with the money, and there's no story about it. It's just,
Right.
this is what I have, this is what I give back, this is what I do with it. It's mine, I work for it, I deserve it.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
there's a lot of people out there with that exact mentality.
Yeah, I like the way you said it, Tracy. It's if you have an abundance mindset or a scarcity mindset, whether you have if you can look at that same $10 two different ways.
Mhm.
You can look at, holy crap, I got $10. This is fantastic. Or what's this $10 going to get me? It's not going to get me anywhere. I can't take this 10. I need more than $10. It's the same $10, but you have two different views on
Yeah.
it.
And I think that's where we come back to that nurturing aspect of the money. Like to be able to look at every money transaction we do, right from buying a coffee to buying a newspaper to getting a ride on a bus or whatever that happens to be, is if we looked at that not as just something that happened, but it's actually a money transaction, it's a gift that you are giving and also receiving at the same time.
Mhm.
Like it's a win-win situation. I'm giving somebody money for this coffee and I'm getting the coffee and I'm nurturing this whole situation. This whole transaction can be nurtured instead of discarded, which is what we normally do. It's just a coffee. Here's my money, you know, or
Right.
I tap, right? Here's my tap and I'm done, because we don't actually see. There's, I mean, how many transactions that happen that we don't even see until you
Yeah.
get your statement in a month later. Oh yeah, look at all the Tim Hortons I went to. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, no, seriously, right? Because we don't think about it.
Well, I
And
just think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say that is what nurturing and trying to create that relationship with money becomes in every single one of those transactions, not just the big stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm going out to buy a house or buy a car or, you know, buy a stereo or buy whatever it is that, you know, you're going to spend, you know, a couple $100 on, right? Not necessarily stuff like that. It's all the little things.
But it's our emotional attachment, because money makes me feel good. If I have money, if I'm perhaps purchasing things, I start to feel like I'm a little bit more worthy. And that's that emotional attachment. And I don't, like you said, everything that's being said, like, how do we break that cycle so that people just go, this is just a transaction. It means nothing in the big scheme of your worthiness and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because that's really what I just like, that's where it should get to.
I think that's a little bit more back work to understand. If you're using purchasing to value your self-worth, there's a little bit more of a deeper dive in that
I
aspect.
don't think
But
that's what society presents, is that money means you're worthy.
yes, there is. And there is, like, even within the social medias, you see people in and out of stores and buying homes, and you know, like, I started this business and now I'm bringing in, you know, 100K a month and different things like
In
that.
5 days too. I did it in
Yeah.
5 days.
Yeah, you know, and it's all this bull crap, to be very honest. But when you're desperate, people believe things like that and believe, well, I've been doing this for 3 years and can't get ahead. So your self-worth is like down in the toilet somewheres, you know.
I'm
I
just saying
think,
that there is an emotional attachment, and
oh
we
yeah,
need to
totally.
recognize that and
yes,
remove ourselves from that, and not put
yeah,
anything about us with our bank accounts. Instead,
right,
go take my investment, what I can spend and what I'm saving or
yeah,
whatever, and just work that way, as
yes,
opposed to putting all this other stuff with it, which is again why we're talking about the relationship with money, right?
right, yeah,
Relationship, emotional investment.
yes, yes, all of that. But I don't, you know, I think money is, you know, there's those sayings, money is the root of all evil, you know, yeah. That's one that comes to mind, and that's like so far from the truth. I think people have put that negative thought process, and I got to sneeze. Hold on. Excuse me. It was coming. I'm like, I could feel it coming. We put those, especially if somebody in your family has told you that. I had a grandmother who grew up in the Depression in the United States. Like money was, she was, yeah, what I watched her be able to survive on and not was both amazing and kind of sad. Because amazing was that she was able to live her life on this. And it was kind of sad because there was one day she used to live next door to me when my children were small, and she would come over for dinner once or twice a week. And we had like this much corn left, like this much, just a little bit. And I had 2 growing boys. That was going to fill maybe a cavity. It wasn't going to do anything. And I went to throw it out, and she had an ape. She went berserk because we were wasting money.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. I've seen her survive on what little she made and had a nice savings and never had asked for a handout. But yet I was throwing out these small kernels of corn, and she just went berserk to the point where whenever she was over, I don't care what was left, it went in a container.
Yeah. Waste not, want not, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
So-
that there was that belief. So if I'm not wasteful, then I'm not gonna want for anything, Yeah.
So yeah. So I think it's hard. I think money is one of those taboo subjects that people don't like to talk about. I think money, the expectations around money are, I don't know, like sometimes I think they're unrealistic.
Well,
And I
you
think
think
that's-
also that like if you're not organized, like you can, it's like, oh, I'll bring an organizer into my house and they'll get me all organized and they'll get rid of, help me throw away the crap and, donate this stuff. But, and you'd spend money on that and you'd go, yeah, because I want my house to be organized and I want to live my life more efficiently. But you do the same for money and you're kind of like, oh, I don't want someone, I don't know. I don't want to start going and mucking about into my money. And that's, now you're gonna want paperwork here and you want to know if I did something right or did, it's funny. You just right away go, no, thank you.
Judgment.
At least I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But yet, you know what? It would probably be one of the best things you could do. Because that person is there to create abundance for you, to help you see abundance. And yeah, it's probably one of the best things to do is to have somebody come in and say, let's take a look at your finances. Let's see what we can do here.
It's that uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that uncomfortableness is everything you ever wanted.
Yeah. It's my mantra.
I know it is. That's why I said it. It's drilling. It's drilling. You've said it enough. It's coming in. It's going through the thick skull.
I'm gonna get a t-shirt with that on it.
So what's your thoughts? How's your relationship with money? What are your thoughts about the relationship with money? Do you have a understanding, or does somebody else take care of that if you're in a relationship? Like, what is your relationship with money? We don't care about your finances, any of that aspect. What your true relationship is with money. Comment below, let us know. Share this with somebody who you think might need to hear this. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you're notified of every new episode on a Wednesday. Whoops, I forgot my sonnet. Money. Sometimes it's our best friend. Sometimes it's our worst enemy. Money can take on many forms of identity. Money can take on many forms of feelings. We love money. We hate money. We don't understand money. But mostly, we have some form of fear of money. Fear of not having enough. Fear of having too much. fear of how others will judge us with our money. Fear is an energy like no other energy around us. Money should be your friend. No fear of having not enough or of having too much. Money will come and go like everything else in our life. Embrace money. Allow it to be part of your life. Learn it, trust it, embrace it, but don't fear it.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.